It looks like an ordinary canister, harmless, unremarkable, unworthy of a second glance. Yet, this powder changed the course of human history and became a deadly instrument in one of the darkest chapters of our time. Zyklon B. Its name sends chills down spines even today. But why? And how did a chemical designed to eliminate pests become a weapon of industrial murder? Let's return to early 1940s Europe. The Holocaust was escalating. Nazi leadership had a problem, or so they saw it. Their war on innocence, fueled by hatred, demanded terrifying solutions. Concentration camps sprawled across occupied territories. Auschwitz, Majdanek, Sachsenhausen. Prisoners faced starvation, cruelty, and systematic killing. But the Nazis wanted more efficiency, faster results. In stepped the tools of industry. Zyklon B began as a pesticide engineered to fumigate warehouses and ships. Its active ingredient, hydrogen cyanide, killed insects swiftly. But then came an unthinkable shift. Engineers and chemists, blinded by obedience or ambition, repurposed Zyklon B for mass murder. The method was grotesquely simple. Pour pellets through vents into sealed chambers, exposing victims to invisible death as the crystals vaporized. Test runs started on Soviet POWs and disabled victims. But soon, it became the grim heart of Auschwitz's killing machine. If you imagine gas chambers as crude rooms, think again. They were designed for maximum efficiency. Showers to mimic hygiene, concrete walls for silence, roof vents for the poison. Victims, men, women, and terrified children, crammed inside. Doors sealed tight. Outside, SS guards in gas masks waited. They protected performers in an act of horror. Once the pellets hit the chamber, heat and moisture activated the chemical. Hydrogen cyanide gas, colorless but with an almond scent, filled the space. In 10 to 20 minutes, all inside would perish. Yet even here, the Nazis kept meticulous records. Clipboards tallied the number entering, and by chilling calculation, the output. What happened next was no less chilling. Sonderkommando units, themselves prisoners, were forced to drag bodies from the chamber. They extracted dental gold, shaved hair, and burned corpses in industrial ovens. Zyklon B became a symbol, not just of death, but of calculation. The Nazis ordered it from German firms like Degesch, officially for pest control. In reality, thousands of kilograms were shipped monthly to death camps. At peak efficiency, over 6,000 people could be murdered in Auschwitz-Birkenau's gas chambers in a single day, and all with handfuls of pellets. But the mechanics of the Holocaust were not purely physical. They were bureaucratic, systematic, chillingly rational. Railways coordinated arrivals, accountants tracked costs, engineers calibrated dosage. This is what makes the Holocaust so terrifying. A blend of cold efficiency and total moral collapse. When Soviet troops liberated Auschwitz in January 1945, they found canisters and scattered blue pellets among the ruins. Stark reminders of what had happened behind barbed wire and concrete. And after the war, Zyklon B's suppliers and Nazi officials tried to claim ignorance. But the evidence was clear. Time and again, survivors testified about the hiss of pellets, the silence that followed. Why does any of this matter to us, decades later? Because Zyklon B isn't just a symbol of murder. It's a warning, a reminder that science and technology, when used without conscience, can enable horrors on a scale almost impossible to comprehend. From a pesticide to a tool of genocide, Zyklon B's story is a grim echo that still reverberates through our collective memory. It forces us to confront uncomfortable questions. How did people justify this? How can ordinary objects become instruments of evil? Where is the line between progress and destruction? Sometimes history's darkest moments are hidden behind ordinary things. A metal canister, a train schedule, a ledger. The story of Zyklon B is not just about the mechanics of death. It's about the choices people make, the power of systems, and the terrifying ease with which humanity can lose its way. What other hidden tools shaped the machinery of the Holocaust? Whose hands signed the orders and turned the valves? The answers lie in the details, waiting to be unearthed, if we have the courage to look closer.